Oh, what a day to be a United fan. What a day. Finally, a sale for Manchester United. Finally, we have that sale. But first, where do we go? Where do we go? I've got so much to talk to you about tonight. I've got rid of the DCL book for obvious reasons, but we have got a lot to talk about. We do have a special guest. I'm so excited to have this guy on. This guy gave me my chance in YouTube. This guy is the Don to me. It's Mr. Dan Potts. How are you, mate?
I'm better than the Man United fans, bruv, because I don't know what's happening with your football club, bro. I was thinking that this was going to be a big window, and some of the names you're linked with, I actually thought were going to be some of the names that we're linked with. But it seems that Manchester United are linked with a relegation fodder, and Arsenal are doing bits again now, thank God. But we're here to talk about it, man. Smash up to yourself, man. Make sure you hit the likes and subscribe to this guy, people, because it's very difficult to start YouTube from scratch, and this is pretty much what Dan's done. Obviously, he's got a bit of exposure from other channels, but the guy's smashing it, man. So to nearly hit 1,000 in one of his first streams is mad. So let's hit the like and subscribe for this guy, man. And everyone from my channel that's come over, big up to you guys as well. Sophie, it's me, Everest, and all the other guys as well. So legend, Dan. I'm glad you've done this show, man. Glad you've done this channel.
What a season to start it, mate. I've been able to talk about Brian. I've spoken about Brian, I think, for it feels like 54 days straight here, and we're no closer. But let's give some hellos in the chat. So it's me, Everest, as always, is here. Hope you're well, buddy. Sophie B, the Queen is here. Geordie Toon for Life says, "Evening, lads. The Two Dan sounds like a comedy show from the 80s. We signed players back then, so I'll take that." What else we got? Andy, hope you are well. Judy Toon for Life, as I've said. And we got Moxie Shun. Great to see you guys. Great to see you. Jordan, hope you're well. Ben, welcome back. Jamie, fantastic. Great to see you. And Jason Carter, as always. There you are, Jason. Hope you're well, my friend. Hope you're well. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's really get into it, because I tell you what I've had this summer, Dan. I've had a realization. And I feel like the media is to blame for this. The media has completely fucked it up for me. So the start of the window, right? We'll go with the strikers. We were linked with Gyökeres, Osimhen, Ekitike. Then it got to Watkins, Tony, and you're still thinking, yeah, that'll change our front line. That's the sort of energy we need. Now we're linked with Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Nkunku. How do you feel about that, mate?
I can't believe what I'm hearing, bro. Like, I really thought, like, I was listening to Rants, yourself, Saeed, all the Manchester United content creators, Terry, Goldbridge, all saying that this summer was going to be exciting, that Brian and Mbeumo, Manchester United, have still got Paul. You're buzzing on Cunha. And I actually thought, you know what? Cunha and Mbeumo is a fantastic start. And if they go all out for a Victor Gyökeres signing, they get that midfielder, that Adam Wharton, Baleba type midfielder, then Manchester United seriously could be going for Europe next season. Now I'm all of a sudden hearing Ndidi and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I'm thinking, what happened there overnight then? And how does it take you 6 weeks to get Brian Mbeumo? Like, let's be real, it's a Brentford winger who's very good. He's a Premier League proven goal scorer. This should not be a hard deal to get across the line. Why is it taking so long? The structure of the deal. What? Like, just get it done. He clearly wants to come. It shouldn't be a problem. Thomas Frank has allowed him to go. He's moved on from, Brentford. He's now at Tottenham. So this is a really easy deal. Kieran Andrews comes in. It doesn't look like he's begging for him to stay. He's made his mind up. I don't get what is going on there. I don't know who now takes charge of your kind of transfers. I imagine that, when you first saw it was Dan Ashworth. He's now done out here. You've now got a new structure. I don't know how it works and if it's Wilcox and co. But for me, I don't know what's going on. And if I'm honest with you, the new structure at Manchester United needs to save itself from embarrassment, if I'm honest. And this isn't the way to do it, bro, if I'm honest. It's been a poor start for Man United. I thought you were going to be quick. I was looking at Cunha and Mbeumo thinking, Arsenal, hurry up. Like, Man United are actually cooking. And it's all gone quiet, and it's like role reversed within literally a matter of 2 weeks. So I'd be disappointed if I was a Manchester United fan. And I'd be asking this, Ineos now, what they're actually doing, because it's supposed to be, we're saving you from the Glazers. The Glazers are lapping this up, bruv. They're absolutely loving this, man. The heat's off of us. It's all on Sir Jim. It's all on Ineos now. It's all on Wilcox and co. hang on a minute, like Barada and Wilcox and Ineos, and Jim and all that, they can definitely take some L's, but the Glazers are just sat there laughing, bruv. Real talk. You know what I'm saying?
And then it gets better, mate, because then we move to the midfield. This is where it really gets there. So we were linked with Richard Rios, Ederson, Douglas Luiz, and you think, this is energy in the midfield. These are players that are going to come in and I think actually stake a claim for the shirt and take us forward. It's now, as we said, Wilfred Ndidi. And I'll go through Ndidi's stats in a bit. I have to. The people who watch this channel know that I always come back in. I always make sure I've got the stats. But when I was doing the stats, I sat there, Potts, and I went, I can't get excited for this. I can't get excited for this guy. I don't look at this guy and go, this is the man that's going to come in and change our midfield. As a squad player with another midfielder like an Ederson, you go, okay, yeah, I can see what they're doing here. But we're absolutely struggling. And the question I get asked a lot is, do we panic now? And I see so many other streamers as it's lesser of two evils. You've got some streamers that say, we're a joke. What's going to happen now? You know, this was meant to be the season of us doing something, rebuilding this squad. Then I see other streamers say, hang on, whoa. Let's just calm down. It's the 7th of July, Potts. We've come back to pre-season training today with 15 first-team players. 15. I mean, obviously, Bruno and Diogo Dalot, I completely understand why they're not there. But when you look at this squad, considering where we were last season, and I've got to be honest with you now, you know, people, you especially will remember the rivalry United and Arsenal had. It was toe-to-toe, absolute war. Surely teams like you, Liverpool, City, are looking at United now going, who? It's ridiculous. It's the drop-off is ridiculous.
The drop-off is mad because the word drop-off to me, would be Manchester United are looking at Osimhen and Gyökeres, and the step down from that is potentially looking at Ivan Toney or Dusan Vlahovic. But the drop-off is Calvert-Lewin. Like, what's happening there? Then you look at the midfield, and I was being told that Baleba or Wharton would be tried to be prized out of Brighton or Palace. And I thought, well, Man United should be able to do that. The step down from that should not be Wilfred Ndidi, bruv. Like, it really should not. Like, go over to Lucien Agome that we were looking at Seville. Like, see what he's about, yeah? I'm looking at the defence, and I think Man United probably don't need many more defenders. One, maybe tops if Maguire or Evans were to go. But goalkeeper-wise, Emi Martinez, are you going to go and just keep Tom Heaton in goal next? Like, what? This is the problem with Man United. They've got to be serious about the size of their club. And I appreciate you're not the Manchester United that Sir Alex Ferguson was fighting titles with, yeah? But you've got a top manager, yeah, apparently. You've got some good players. Let's be real. Manchester United have not got dross throughout the whole of their side. There's some top players in there. Bruno, I can't stand him, but he's a top player. Yeah. You've obviously got Amad Diallo, who's a top player. For me, Lenny Yoro is going to be a future star. I think he's a good centre-half. Lisandro Martinez and De Ligt are not shockingly bad defenders. Yeah. You have got Mazraoui. You have got Patrick Dorgu. Some of these guys were tipped to be wanted by top players. Igate, question marks, but he was wanted by a lot of clubs, right? So it's not like you've bought a load of players from Barnsley, right? This is a team that should not be going anywhere near 15th, 16th or 17th next season, right? That should be an absolute anomaly. But when you're bringing in players like that, I mean, I know we laugh and say Rasmus Højlund's bad and Calvert-Lewin, we get ahead of him, but is that really going to take you to the next level? Ndidi, good player. He's been a good Premier League player. 28 years old, got experience now. Is that going to take you to the next level? I'm not sure that it will. If they're coming in, yeah, as well as Vlahovic up top and as well as Baleba, I don't think you'd have a problem with that, right? But if they're coming in to be your starters, there's a huge problem at the club, bruv. And if I'm honest with you, Manchester United have got bigger problems than Arsenal had when Arteta took over right now, in my opinion. You've got the culture problem we had. You've got the toxicity. You've got the fans, which some of your fans are absolutely crazy, by the way, mate. I've got to be honest. I know our fans can take the biscuit, but my God, some of yours are crazy as well. But also what you've got is you've got players that are toxic, laughing at you because they're on 300k a week. Like Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho, Anthony are all massive problems at the club that need removing. You've got a goalkeeper I don't rate. You've got a midfield that used to have Keenan Scholes that's had since then Fred and McTominay, and they probably both walk in at the moment, by the way. You've then got up top, you used to have 4 strikers in 99 that went and did the treble. in Dwight York, Andy Cole, Teddy Sheringham, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And you look at it now, and it's Xerxes and Højlund. What the hell is going on at Manchester United? Real talk. And that was before Rooney and Van Persie and Van Nistelrooy and all these guys. It is absolutely unrecognisable to the Manchester United that I grew up fearing. And I know that Arsenal aren't far away from being a bit of a banter club, but we're actually competing. Manchester United might win trophies, but in each season you're not winning the league and you're not winning the Champions League if you're even qualifying for it. So, I mean, look, I've got to be honest. I'd be livid if I was a Manchester United fan. I don't know how. Do you know what, Dan? Last season, from going on the channel weekly with me, it wasn't even fun to take the piss out of you anymore.
It was, mate,
it was like, oh, United lost, typical. Right, shall we move on? It got to that, and I'm like, why was it like that? Because that to me, Man United losing was like, you're joking. Who did they lose to? Wow, they lost. Now it's like they lost, right? What about Man City and Liverpool? What did they do? Like, it wasn't even funny taking the piss out of Man United anymore. That's mad, because I can't stand your club, right? Tottenham and Man United and Chelsea are the three I hate the most, right? But I was like, oh, United and Tottenham, yeah, they're losing every week. Brilliant. They're 15th and 17th, right? It was like funny, but I wasn't like bantering anymore. It was becoming boring, bruv. It was like they've lost again. Wow, they really are bad. And, I think there's a lot of pressure on Amorim because he somehow made you worse since he's come in. And that's like statistically proven as well. So he's got a lot of pressure. But let's be real. You can't blame Amorim if this window is as bad as you think it's going to be. Because what's he supposed to do? Like, he's got to back him. You've got to give him his players. You've got to give the players that suits his system. If this is a new structure and build at Man United, and you've got Barada who's going to say to Wilcox, who's going to say to XYZ, to Ruben Amorim, what do you need? And if that's not going to happen, then Ruben Amorim's going to get sacked, bruv.
The other problem is with that, though, is they've tried to say to the fans for the past few weeks, and guys, don't worry, I can see your comments, so we'll get to them in a second. They've tried to say to the fans, we have a plan in place. We've got backup plans. When Delap didn't come through, we didn't panic because we had plan B. Well, where's this plan B? Where's this plan B that we're meant to be seeing? Because the only plan B I see at the moment is us just desperately trying to sell 4 players that we can't get out the squad. And I wonder if it was naivety from this new board that they thought in the summer we'd just be able to sell them. They'd go. Rashford went to Villa, he's shown bits. Garnacho's a young talent. Anthony's gone to Betis and done well. Sancho. I wonder if there was genuinely that naivety that come the 1st of July, these players would leave the club. Now, with Sancho, we know that it's almost there. Juventus have come back and said, we've got a package for him now. It looks like it might happen. Anthony, we're still waiting for Betis to make the money. I still think that'll end up as a loan with an obligation to buy. Rashford is just working for Barcelona, but I still feel there may be a chance he goes to Bayern Munich. And then, of course, you've got, as I said, Garnacho, who I don't think any decent club will want to touch because of the attitude he's shown. So what are your thoughts on the outgoings, and was it naivety from the board?
It has been naivety from the board, but also you've got to question some of these players. Like, I don't really understand who they think they are, some of them. Like, let's be real. Manchester United are in the absolute doldrums at the moment, but it is Manchester United. It is one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the, alongside Real Madrid, right? When you look at a player of Garnacho's quality or Rashford's quality, or let's say it, Sancho and certainly Anthony, you can do a lot worse than playing for Manchester United on a hell of a big wage. So if you're going to, on top of that, start throwing your weight around, start throwing your dummy out the pram, actually get your head down and show some mentality. Because as much as I can't stand Bruno Fernandes, actually he's done that. As much as people take the piss out of Harry Maguire, he's not one of the toxic ones in the dressing room. Actually, there's been moments in games where both of those players have actually won Manchester United games or got them through to the next round of competitions or won them trophies, right? So I don't think those two players in Bruno and Maguire, although I'd probably get rid of them long term, are the actual issue. I don't know how you're going to sell these players, Dan, because they are on unbelievable wages and they've got a bad attitude to come with them. Now, I think Rashford has got quality. Sancho's clearly got it. He's shown it previously. But why is it not working for him? And I think it is the mentality. It's not elite. There's something wrong up there. Garnacho looks like he's got that as well, right? Anthony never really had anything. Let's just be real. It's one of the worst signings United have ever made, right? But when I look at how he moved them on, It reminds me of when we had a few players that were a little bit prima donna. They were a little bit like Mario Balotelli type. We had Mesut Ozil. Obviously, there was that big row with Aubameyang. We had players like Kolasinac and Mustafi that were on unbelievable wages that thought they were much better than they were. We ended up just saying, see you later to them. We ended up just mutually terminating their contracts. And I wonder if Manchester United might have to go down that route. Now, I know you don't save any money by that or make any money by that, but it just gets rid of them. And they're allowed to then go and make their own decision with their own clubs. And that might be the only way you can do it. Or, of course, what you do is say, look, give us 5 million, give us 10 million, give us 15. And I know it's crazy and you might hate that, but it might be the quickest and best way to get them out because they can't stay at United. These people are the biggest problem at the club. The toxicity in the dressing room must be rife at Manchester United. When you see what happens with Ten Hag and Sancho, Rashford throwing his toys out the pram, Garnacho wearing Rashford number 9 shirts. You've got Anthony, who's, let's be real, is just doing mad stuff on Instagram since he's gone to Betis. I don't think it's good for them all to come back and try and get into this team. They're clearly not wanted at the club. So the best way to do that is to try and get in some form of dollar for them somehow, even if it has to be a pay cut. And you might think that you want 40 million for Rashford. You might have to take 20 and just get him out the door. Likewise with Garnacho, likewise with, Jadon Sancho. And I think that's the only way you're going to be able to get rid of these players, bro.
It's terrifying. Let's get through some of these comments. So, Temesigan says, United, I need Osimhen, Edison, Rios, Vinicius. Jesus Christ, imagine if we got that. I don't think in this world that's ever going to happen. DCL has more dresses and goals. Here we go, Alanga, says Jay. What have we got here? Anomaly could be regularity if the club is not careful. I completely agree. So Alanga goes to Newcastle for 55, but we can't sell Rashford or Garnacho. That's a great point, that is, by the way. Yeah. That's a great point because we spoke off air about this. Alanga going for 55 million. Is that good money? Is that actually good money, Potts?
Well, look, Elanga was at Manchester United. And if I'm honest with you, I don't think he was shocking at Manchester United, but I understood why he probably wasn't going to be your future winger. He has gone on, done brilliantly at Forest. He has gone on now to Newcastle. I think it's mad money, if I'm honest, but this is the market. Declan Rice was never 120 million or whatever he was, 105 million, right? But this is the market. It's just absolutely wild. But Newcastle will probably do well with him. He's a good player. He can play on both sides. He's going to do what Newcastle want, which is, I think, get another attacking winger in to the club, which is clearly what they need. Manchester United are going to get some of this. Hopefully that gets you Brian and Mbeumo over the line because I don't see what else there is you're stumbling on, bro. Like I really don't. And I wonder where some of these players will fit into the Ruben Amorim system as well. Like I don't see Kobbie Mainoo fitting into that system at all. I don't know where his future lies. I don't know where Ahmad plays if Cunha and Mbeumo come in. Does he play right wing back? Maybe. And then obviously you're looking at a forward that can hit the barn door because Højlund can't. So there's a lot of players I'm not sure fitting into this system even yet. So I think Man United have got so much work to do, bruv. You really have.
There's a comment here from Jamie that says, to be honest, I don't think we need midfield players in defence. We just need a goalkeeper and a striker. I think the thing with the Brian and Mbeumo, and I will say Brian and Mbeumo tonight because I'm angry, the Brian signing for me, this guy has got to sleep in Man United, pyjamas, because the patience this lad has shown after basically telling everybody, I want to go to United. He's sitting there saying, come get me. And we're quibbling over 5 million quid, if you believe some reports. 5 million quid. I can't bear it.
You get the sell on, you'll get that now then. You get the sell on for Elanga, which is probably going to be about between 5 and 10 million. You can then go and do it, can't you?
Sophie, thanks for that. Sophie always comes in with the realism. She does this on every bloody stream to me. Wolfie will tell everybody he's not bothered, but I think he is bothered. Blue Brothers, welcome. Hope you're well. Valsey says with Diego Leon, Bruno, Cunha and Brian, hopefully I'm excited for this, to be honest. I'm not like anyone else. I think, though, Valsey, the problem is the club are sucking the excitement out of it for us. We celebrated Cunha, what was it, a month and 6 days ago. We waited 35, 36 days for just to be told tonight that now Manchester United, the reports are coming out, are saying it's a priority. We need to get it done this week. We needed to get it done 3 weeks ago. He needed to be here on the first day of pre-season training because that signing won't be done like that. It'll be the medical, then it'll be all the media stuff. I'd be amazed if he's there for the Leeds game. I honestly would. Get those likes in as well. The Queen will come for you. She will come for you. And what else have we got here? Valsey says, This is the difference. You wouldn't F with Fergie. He wanted it. It was go. Amorim, has he tried it at all? I think Amorim is more than angry with the way things have gone, because Amorim knows, as Potsy just said before, that if this season goes to shit, they're not going to look at Ineos. They're going to go for Amorim because of what happened last season, because it was bad last season. Let's not try and paint over it. I'm happy to give him this season. I've said that. I'm standing by that. But if these results don't go the way that they should, and we've got 5 really tough opening games as well with you, City and Chelsea, if this doesn't go the way it should do, and we look at November and we're like 15th, 14th, well, then they're going to sack him. And then we're back in the same situation that we were before, because a new manager will come in with players that he doesn't think is going to be in his system. We'll see the uproar of players saying, well, am I wanted here? And it will just be that revolving door. It will just be the revolving door. And then Andy says the problem is we bought Eric players, and we bought Eric players, and then we sacked him. Yeah, but
this is the quick thing, just quickly, Dan. Right, what you don't want to do is repeat that mistake. What you don't want to do is buy a load of Ruben Amorim players and sack him in October, and then bring in a completely different manager that doesn't play that system, and go and get somebody in like let's just say Nuno, who then plays a completely different style and system, and you're playing you know what I mean? Maybe Nuno's a bad example, but you get what I'm saying. Like, this is what you got to be careful with doing, bro.
100%, mate, 100%. There's a question for you, Potts, and I do have a few myself. Moxie says, so seriously, with Arteta, does this have to be the season Arsenal must win something, Potts? And before you answer that, I'll break something onto the side of that. Do you feel more confident going into this season with the signings you've made that Arteta now has the players at his disposal, if they bring a couple more in, to go in and actually do something?
Well, that's what I want to be feeling like, because Andrea Berta's come in this summer to give us a little bit of a boost and reassurance that we're going to be doing something. Players we're linked with, 100% we need. Gyökeres coming in, hopefully. Zubimendi's signed. We've got the backup goalkeeper, which everyone laughed at, but I don't really care for that. He's already going to play. Obviously, you then got Norgard coming in to back up Partey and Jorginho leaving. Eze linked, Madueke linked, which is a strange one for me, but Rodrigo's the one that we are looking to get. He's the marquee guy, but along with a few clubs, I think. I'll say this, if that comes in and we can sit there and go, wow, then it's over to you, Mikel, and you must win a trophy at the bare minimum. It should really be a Premier League or a Champions League, and I've made my expectations clear that the minimum expectation is to win a trophy and go all the way in a title race, even if we come second again. If we win a trophy, I'd keep him. If we don't, he's got to go, bro. It's quite simple. You lift something in May or see you later. I don't think there can be anybody that says that's harsh. I don't think there's going to be anybody that says that is a knee-jerk reaction when you've had, which will be 6 seasons and £1 billion spent. That has got to be the time to say either, what's the term, shit or get off the pot. That's what he's got to do now for me. Because, look, I can sit there and say that he's done a great job to get us competing. No one's denying that. I can say that he's not always had it easy at times with some of the decisions or whatever, if you really want to go down that road, or injuries, whatever. I can't be dealing with any more of these bloody excuses, man. Like, you either win a trophy or you don't. This squad is good enough to win a trophy right now. If we sign nobody else, Dan, it's still good enough to win a trophy. Why do I know that? Because Tottenham, Chelsea, Palace and Newcastle have all won a trophy, and Manchester United, and we haven't, right? So that to me is not good enough. I never accepted second best when I was growing up, so why would I do it now? We used to go head to toe with yourself and Fergie. And when we come second, I didn't go, oh, what a season. I used to go, fucking hell, we've messed up here. And that's my biggest problem now, is that we've got a lot of fan base that were growing up when I was growing up that are saying, oh, yeah, I'm really happy with where we're going. Are you? No, I haven't won anything, mate. Like, it's fine having progress. Like, look, I think sometimes people look at where Mikel Arteta picked Arsenal up from, and it was like we were Southampton, the way people go on. We were 8th and we never should have been 8th. Yeah, I always use this example. It's Usain Bolt getting a hammy and coming 12th. He never should have come 12th. If he didn't have a hamstring, he would have been first, right? This is what Arsenal are. Arsenal should be nowhere near down in the doldrums of 8th. And then when we come 8th again, I thought, is this guy really it? What's happening? Then we got 5th, 2nd, and we've been 2nd 3 years in a row. I don't know he's the guy to get us across the line. And I don't mean for a Premier League. I mean for a trophy, because the mentality at Arsenal is when the pressure gets very hot, we fold. And that's got to change with these players coming in now, Dan.
The players that you're bringing in, though, I will say there does seem to be a shift in mentality with the ones that you're bringing in. Zubimendi, he looks like he's just built for the Premier League. I don't know if anybody in the chat's watched. Now, I've watched a lot of him, and he is a class player. And then, of course, you've got Gyökeres, which I think mentality-wise, I mean, this is a player that's shown everything how to get to a club. He is willing to do anything. I mean, the reports are he dumped his girlfriend. I'm not sure about that one. But for going money to come to you, this guy wants Arsenal. And this guy, we've had this conversation for the last 2-3 years, Potts, where we said, you are missing a goal scorer. If you had a goal scorer 2 seasons ago, I think you'd have probably gone on and won the Premier League. Last season with Liverpool, I don't think the points tally would have been as big as it was. That has been what you've been lacking for so long. And I'm surprised it's taken Arteta so long to work that out, because obviously we've got Havertz there for you. But I honestly feel like Gyökeres is that missing piece of the puzzle. Like, if he comes and gets half as many goals as he does for Sporting Lisbon, you guys are going to be absolutely smashing it with him.
Yeah, you're right. And look, I wanted him. Isak was everyone's number one once we knew he was unobtainable, which, let's be real, he is. I know Liverpool fans think they're going to get him, but they're not, right? He's going to stay at Newcastle. Gyökeres was my number one. I had him, Osimhen, Julian Alvarez, and Isak in my 4. I wanted one of those. I didn't want Ekitike. I didn't want Sesko. I didn't want Jonathan David or Mateta or João Pedro. I wanted one of those 4. And there was an order. Gyökeres was my number 1. Julian Alvarez was my number 2. Osimhen was 3. And then, of course, obviously, I've mentioned Isak, who's unobtainable. So I look at it now and think that, for me, is a very good signing. Now, he's, of course, got to come in and bang, Dan. But he has been bagging over in Portugal. Previous season to that was bagging. And then he was at Coventry, where, let's be real, a lot of people laugh at the Championship players, but I've seen quite a lot that have come through to the Premier League and have absolutely lit it up. Not just Ollie Watkins and Jack Grealish and these guys. I'm talking about the players of the last couple, like Eze, Michael Elise. These guys have come up from the Championship and you're like, oh, I didn't expect this. This is impressive. Adam Wharton. Do you know what I mean? So I think that you can look now at the Championship and see that there are some stars. And I think Victor Gyökeres, with the amount that Arsenal create, I just think it's impossible for him not to score goals. He might not get 30, but he's definitely going to score goals. Havertz got 15, bruv. Marino got 9. Like, what is Gyökeres going to get? You know, and for me, he's got to get between 15 and 20 for him to be a brilliant signing. The other thing I'll say quickly, we haven't spent 160 million here. We've spent about 67, which is similar to what we spent on Havertz. This is an absolute no-brainer for me, bro. And I'm really happy about it.
Can I ask you a nice question? Because we were at the 12th man end of season do. Fantastic night. Fantastic host, as always, Mr. Potts. And it was when the news broke that Gyökeres might go to United. And I remember looking at it going, hang on a minute, Potts. We're about to sign Mbeumo, Gyökeres, and Cunha.
Yeah.
As the weeks have gone on, and obviously the word come out that Gyökeres only wanted Arsenal, were you ever worried that he would have chose United over Arsenal?
I was, because I believed that we were going to end up with Sesko, and the only other club that were looking at Victor Gyökeres was Manchester United. Now, I know there was rumours of Barcelona and Liverpool, but there wasn't really any massive rumour that was coming across. Now, some people might look at that and go, why? Why does no one want Osimhen then? Why does no one want Gyökeres? Why is no one in for Julian Alvarez if you want him that badly? I honestly believe that Gyökeres only wanted Arsenal. And I think sometimes when you look at, oh, we'll have a little bit here, he's going to Arsenal, mate. And they just go, okay, cool, we better move on then. We'll go somewhere else. I genuinely think Andrea Berta has worked that magic, because I think there was genuine interest in Sesko. It looks as if Leipzig were just, holding out for more money. They wanted 90 million euros. And I've heard today that not only did Sporting Lisbon allow for less, or we're looking at around about 70 million euros, he's going to be on less wages than Sesko's on at Leipzig now. So what the hell was Sesko going to ask for? So I think this is really good move, because the player wants Arsenal. And he said to Man United, I want... Now, look, it would have been very interesting to see if he would have beaten Tottenham. Would he have then... Champions League Man United sounds a bit more, with my old manager, sounds a bit more tempting. Which was always my kind of silver lining was, yeah, bloody Tottenham, but we might get Gyökeres now. And it looks like that was... I'm not saying that's the reason he went to Arsenal, because I think he genuinely did want to come to Arsenal, but I think it made his decision easier when you weren't playing in Europe. And as for him and Zubimendi, I do think that has to change the style of play now. We can't be lumping balls into boxes and trying to get set piece FC now. Zubimendi wants to play on the ball. Zubimendi can get it forward very quickly. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see how his balance of the midfield with Rice is. Ødegaard's got to improve because he had a bad season.
Facts.
But I think what Gyökeres will do is bring in Saka and whoever's going to be playing on that left-hand side, if it is going to be Martinelli or potentially a new player. I think Eze is going to help us with low blocks if we bring him in. And it's looking good now for Arsenal if we can get these players across the line. I will say, though, they aren't across the line yet.
Mate, honestly, I genuinely can't see how it goes wrong for you. You're not United at the end of the day, so I think you'll be doing things the right way. What have we got here? We got a couple for you here, Potsy. So, It's Me Everest says, do you think United won the Europa League this year if Ten Hag was manager instead of Amorim, since he's been seen back-to-back finals? Good question.
It is a good question, and it's one that, with hindsight, is quite easy to answer. But I genuinely don't think so. I just think that that was written in the stars for Ange to win that sloppily. It's probably the worst final I've ever seen, by the way. I thought, and let's be real, Tottenham have been a part of 2 European finals in 7 years, and they have been the worst 2 European finals I've ever had to witness. They are absolutely abysmal to be a part of, and that's just Spurs for you, really. They've been in the Champions League final, which lasted a minute before they went out, and they're against you, one of the sloppiest, worst goals you're ever going to see to win the tournament. It's a madness. So I don't know. Look, I think they actually have got worse since Amorim's come in. I don't think that is just Amorim. I think it's the change of system with players that, one, don't want to be there, and two, are trying to midway through a season change their style. That's what I think. I don't actually think he's a horrific manager, but he's certainly showing himself to be a little bit of a novice at times.
It's a mad one though, isn't it? Because like you go to the stadium and you hear the away fans, they don't stop singing for him. I think the fans, I think what we've got here, I think Ineos may struggle with is, if it doesn't go right, I do think the fans will absolutely come for Ineos, because these fans seem to absolutely adore him. I love him. I think, look, in naivety last season, didn't have a plan B, but this season, let's hope they do something. Ben says, Man United will win another trophy before Arsenal do. Jesus Christ, Ben.
No, it's funny. I actually had this question. I did say it with Christian and Terry on the Football Zone on YouTube, on the channel, and I actually put Manchester. The question was, will Manchester United win a trophy before Arsenal? The only reason I said yes was because the evidence has been quite clear that you win trophies even when you're crap. When we're good, we can't win trophies. So that's the only reason I went from, by evidence. But if I had to be serious and say who's got more chance of winning a trophy this coming season, I would put it down to I would say Arsenal. I would. Yeah.
Moxie says, I'm glad you also said about your fan base, Potsy. So many delusional newer. Do you know what, though? I think with that comment, every fan base has got there is I think as social media grows and it becomes more prevalent, that's where the toxicity comes. But you do have the real fans still about. And Valsey, I couldn't agree more. We all want Gyökeres to fail now, but I can guarantee he'll be there scoring a hat-trick first game of the fucking season. You can just see it. Andy says, Ndidi and DCL says, all about it to me with no ambition. Well, that is where we are, unfortunately. That is exactly where we are. And It's Me Everest. Listen, this guy is so always there, pushing and pushing and pushing. Everyone like the stream, sub to the channel if you are new. Thank you so much. I've got my OGs in here, Dan, and they do look after me.
Legends. They do a lot of them from our channel as well, so they follow us all around, man. They follow us all around. Legends.
No, they're great. They're great. And Brendan says, what signing do you need to make to challenge or win the league, Pots?
Well, obviously, Zubimendi and Kepa have come in. As I mentioned, Kepa earlier does nothing for me, but it's a backup goalkeeper. Zubimendi's a good signing. I also think with Mosquera coming in as centre-half, I think that's cover for Saliba. He can play on both sides of the defence as well, which is great. We do need cover for Saliba because as much as we've got loads of defenders, most of them play on the left side, and Saliba's the only one that plays right-sided centre-back at the moment, unless you play Timber or White there, which I don't really want to do because they're right-backs. So that's a good signing if we get him in, which looks positive. Norgard's coming in to back up Zubimendi, which is good. Look, we need somebody, and it's not going to be Thomas Partey or Jorginho now, so we obviously have to bring somebody in. He's a Premier League proven player. And then, of course, we need to look at the attack. Now, I actually do believe that Gyökeres, Rodrigo and Eze are the three that we need to look at. Now, Madueke, and someone put in the chat about Chelsea rejects and Arsenal, this just needs to stop, this obsession. It's becoming a joke, if I'm honest with you. I would rather play Ethan Nwaneri as the backup to Saka and allow him to sign a new contract and show that he has got a place in the starting lineup or in the squad. That's what I would do. But it does sound like we're looking at Madueke. Now, I don't know if Madueke's coming in alongside Eze and Rodrigo. If he is, fine. If he's coming in instead of Eze or instead of Rodrigo, I'm going to have serious question marks about what we're doing with that signing, because it's a very, very strange one. Big waste of money. And look, I don't think he's a bum or a scrub. I don't think he is. I think he's all right. All right. But that's it. And all right don't win you the league. Yeah. So to answer the question, Gyökeres, Rodrigo, Eze, Zubamendi who's in, and then a backup defender, Mosquera, sounds good with what we've already got. So that's what I think should be then enough to say, go and win the Premier League, go and win a trophy, go and win the Champions League, Mikel. And if you can't, then we'll have to replace him.
Listening to you mention them names, and I'm sat here waiting on here we go for Ndidi and fucking Dominic Calvert-Lewin, mate. It just shows exactly where we are, doesn't it? Shows exactly where we are. Brendan says, Potts, why is the Arsenal fan base full of accountants? Every time I watch an Arsenal stream, the signings come down to how they make financial sense. Now, before you answer that, Potts, isn't that in every club now, though, Brendan? I mean, like, we have to. I mean, it's gone are the days where clubs would just make signings and they go, this signing is going to come and change and galvanise the team. A lot of clubs now, when they make these signings, think about resale. They have to, don't they? Because a lot of these players that come, it's never their last contract. So what are your thoughts on that, Potts?
I agree with both of you, as in yourself and Brendan. I actually do think there's a lot of Arsenal accountants, and I don't know why. They seem to believe that everything's good business. So nobody had Kepa on their wish list, but when we signed him, good business. Nobody had Norgard, good business. Every time we sign someone, it's good business. Now, I don't want good business. I want quality coming in. Yeah. So I don't really care how much it's cost us. I want us to win the league with it. So if you're trying to scrimp and save the money to try and finish in the top four, I'm not interested. But if you're actually going to go and put some serious business out there and go and win the league, that's where I'm about. So when I look at what Liverpool, Manchester City are doing, people don't like it because they're spending a lot of money. Arsenal are trying to count the pennies again. A bit like what Manchester United are doing. It's time for us not to. We're being told we're going to be spending over 300 million. If you do the maths and you count up the fees of Kepa, Zubamendi, Norgard, Eze, Madueke, Rodrigo, and Gyökeres, you get over 300 million. So that, for me, is what I'm now expecting from my ownership, who have come out in a program and said, we're going to invest. This is a serious summer. Andrea Porter works in the door. Arteta said it's huge this summer. Goosebump summer. I'm expecting over 300 million. And the other reason I'm expecting over 300 million, why? Well, Liverpool and City are going to be in a title race, and that's what they've spent. So that's what we need to spend. It's simple.
Do you look at that now? Do you look at that now? If you were to get those signings in, do you look at that and say, do you know something? We can go toe to toe with Liverpool and City now. Because I watched City in the Club World Cup. I wasn't as impressed, and I get it's the end of the season. I think everybody expected these signings to come in, the Xerxes come in, and Liverpool to think, hang on a minute, City are here. But I go back to it, Potts. If you bring a Rodrigo in on the left, if you've got your Gyökeres with your Zubamendi, I don't understand. That is your best opportunity, I think, to go and break that hold.
Right now, Liverpool are favourites for obvious reasons. They're the current holders, but I do believe their summer has been phenomenal. I think the signings of their fullbacks and Florian Wirtz has taken them to a new level. I understand there's been some horrendous issues outside of football that's happened, and we say RIP to Diogo Jota and his brother Andre, but what I will say is that they're going to keep spending Liverpool. Manchester City, I don't think defensively are ready yet, and I know that they want Livramento and other players in defence. Whether they'll get those players or not is another thing. I'd be amazed if Newcastle want to sell him. I think he's class, Livramento. So I do think that Manchester City and Liverpool are not done yet. But you're right. I mean, look, let's just say that we have the summer that I've just suggested, right? Rodrigo says I want Arsenal. Gyökeres says I want Arsenal. Saka, Gyökeres and Rodrigo. Tell me a better front three in the Premier League. I don't know that there is one. On paper, there might be a togetherness that's better. But I know Salah at Liverpool, they've got Salah, and Manchester City have got Haaland. And we might not have the Salah or Haaland. But I would say that the other two players are better than what Liverpool and Manchester City have got, unless people rate Doku and Marmoush more than Saka and Rodrigo. Unless Luis Diaz or Gakpo and Darwin Núñez are better than Gyökeres and Rodrigo. I don't know that they are. So I think that we could actually be quite confident in saying that that front three is probably the best front three in the league, but they have to come through the door, Dan. And this is why we need this summer, because at the moment we're playing catch up, but it's not that hard to catch them up. Like, it really is that simple. You bring in Gyökeres and Rodrigo and Zubamendi into your first 11 with the players we've already got. We've already got one of the best keepers in the league and the best back line in the league. We've got a midfield that's now got Zubamendi, Rice and Odegaard in it. And then you've got Saka, Gyökeres and Rodrigo. That 11, everybody knows. And when you start naming those names, people go, yeah, I don't admit it, but that's tasty. Arsenal should be up there or thereabouts. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how simple it is.
funny you should say that. Lucas comes in and says, I've got to be honest, even with Liverpool's and Man City's signings, with Gyökeres, I think Arsenal will win the league now as long as they keep players fit. And that has to be the way that Arsenal need to look at it. And Barry says, watching from the start, Elanga money on the way. Thank Newcastle United fans. Honestly, I guarantee, though, this is Manchester United. They will tomorrow or the next day. Now this is an announced go. We've paid the money. He's on his way. They've sucked the life out of that excitement for that player. Jason says, what do you think? So, Potts, what do you think? Is it that Ethan can't get minutes with Arteta as a manager?
Yeah, I'll touch on this very quick because there's a lot of rumours suggesting that Ethan wants Chelsea. That's rubbish. He doesn't want Chelsea. Chelsea and Manchester City have shown an interest if he doesn't sign for Arsenal. Ethan wants to stay at Arsenal and he wants to try and sign a contract there. The problem that he's got at the moment, like anybody that signs a contract, is his agent is trying to get the best deal for him. And that best deal is wages and game time. And when he's looking at Eze and Madueke rumours and Rodrigo rumours, he's thinking, well, where's my position here? Because I've got to try and get ahead of them three, plus Saka, Odegaard and Martinelli. This is going to be hard for me. So I think there's genuine understanding of why he's reluctant to just go, yep, go on then. I think he's got to have a chat with Arteta and say, right, what's your plan for me? Just like Max Downman will be having in a couple of years' time. It's different for Miles Lewis-Skelly because he's had his opportunity in a different position. Like, let's be real, Ethan Nwaneri has shown a lot more individual quality in his position than what Miles Lewis-Skelly did. Miles Lewis-Skelly's just had the longer opportunity of consistent play. And he's had an unbelievable 8 months where he's been called up to his country, scored in his debut, and playing against Real Madrid and PSG in the Champions League. He never dreamt of that when he went in pre-season, the season before that. Ethan has not had that opportunity. And it's because Saka and Odegaard injuries, they just made do with Sterling's and Trossard's, which again was the manager not believing that Ethan was ready or not believing that Ethan was working hard enough behind the ball, off the ball. I don't know what it is, but he's got some development. I think he will stay at Arsenal. I don't think he wants to leave. I think he's looking at his options at the moment. And, a lot of people have jumped on that and said, oh, my God, Madueke for Ethan. What are we doing here? Arsenal bringing in Madueke. They think he's better than Ethan. That's not the case at all.
Oh, just when you say that about your youth players coming in to play Real Madrid and PSG and teams like that, and I'm looking at my poor youth players going on a bloody end of season tour to play Hong Kong as their debuts, it just makes me sick, Potts. Makes me sick.
You've got a couple of ours, though. You've got Heaven and Shido.
I tell you something, mate. Heaven, I really like the look of him. I know that when I spoke to you and Sam, you were kind of like, well, he's all right. I like the look of him. I think he'll get a lot of minutes this
To be fair, we didn't see much of him, obviously, because our defence isn't really lacking. So we had, obviously, Gabriel Saliba and Kivior who were playing there, and Ben White and Timber. So he was never going to get a look in. And I think it's good that he's moved on. Shido, I was genuinely frustrated about, though, because he was scoring like 10. I think he scored 14 goals in one of the games. That's how mad it was. Like, he's going to be a talent, mate. And if I'm honest with you, next season, I'd actually play him ahead of Rasmus and Xerxes. Real talk, I would. Because he must be better than them.
Yeah, I've got no problem with that. And actually, I think what you see at the age he is now, you'll start to fill out you'll start to bulk out as a man now as well. So I think he does get a few more minutes next season. Ben says, question for Dan Potts. Obviously, Gyökeres is a great signing, but if he gets injured, are you worried it'll be back to last season issues? Would you take DCL or Wilson free as cover?
Well, there's a genuine argument to say that Arsenal need two strikers because Jesus is injured until around January, and we're back to Havertz if we get an injury. Now, we're not going to buy two. We're definitely not going to buy two. I actually said before a ball was kicked that I wanted Gyökeres and I would have taken Jonathan David as backup because he was free agent.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think we're going to get a backup now. And you know what? I'm okay with Havertz as the 9 backup because I know people take the mick and I'm not his biggest fan. But actually, as from the bench and in the squad player, he got 15 goals for us and 9 last season before he got injured. So he can score goals. And I think from the bench, he might be a better option. So I'm actually okay with that, with Jesus coming back in January. And then maybe we go for another one in the summer when we decide what's happening with the futures of both Havertz and Jesus, man.
But doesn't this just show the difference between Manchester United and the way Arsenal are dealing? If Arsenal get this summer right, it will then genuinely just be a case of you having to go out and make 1 or 2 signings.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Whereas United are looking at trying to rebuild a whole squad, having no money to build a whole squad. It's like your car breaking down and it's the middle of the month, no payday. You have to wheel it to the garage. Whereas you guys, it's like, okay, we know what we're bringing in. Manchester United, absolutely screwed. And there's been a lot of people that have said, we'll just play the youth this season. But the football is a different game as it was in the early 90s when Beckham, Giggs, Scholes, they come through. They were a different player altogether. That doesn't happen anymore. You cannot chuck a group of kids out and expect them to go on and take the mantle of not only playing for Manchester United, but being a part of making a new Manchester United. They have to be blooded properly. Moxie says there's going to be a lot of teams making new signings nowadays as clubs look to shape everything around the PSR and FFP. I'm still waiting for ours to do that. A big shout out to Donna as well. As always, she was an absolute superstar last night in helping getting these subscribers up. Guys, if you are new, make sure you are subscribing. We broke the 200 mark yesterday. The next target is 300, and we are well on our way to doing that. I don't really want to touch on this too much, Peter Reds, because my opinion with this has always been the same. And I don't know about you, Potts, but until it's an innocent till found guilty, we've spoke about it. I can't see anything coming from it. So I think it's a case of just sit and wait, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We have to look at what's going to happen there. People say, "Oh, I hope they get done." I only hope they get done if they've broken the rules. Like, I don't think it's fair to just throw them under the bus if they've done nothing wrong. And I think that they will find lawyers and loopholes, just like Chelsea have, and Aston Villa have. And I think they'll get away with it all. And I think they'll get non-compliance fines. That's my honest opinion. If they've done something and it's horrific and it's 115 charges that they're found guilty for, they need to chuck the book at them. Let's be real. It's quite black and white for me. They've either not done it or they have. If they have, they chuck the book at them. If they haven't, they crack on with the game. Yeah, that's the way I see it.
Brendan says, I think Liverpool win the league unless Arsenal do serious business. City just look poor. I also think the awful passing of Jota will unite Liverpool and drive them over the line. Do you know something? I absolutely think that will help. But Liverpool, regardless, have got just such a squad there that just terrifies me. It's me Everest says, Man City apparently trying to offload Nico Gonzalez after 6 months, buying him for 60 million. It hasn't worked out for him, has it? He's not looked strong at all when he's come into this. And I go back to this with players. Sometimes these players come to the Premier League and it just doesn't work out. The Premier League is a different beast. It's a mental, hard beast, isn't it, Potts?
Yeah, it is. And Manchester City get away with it a bit, actually, because they've actually made some big signings that have not worked out and flopped. But because it's Man City and they win everything, they just get away with it. Like Matheus Nunes was 57 million, wasn't he? And then you've got obviously 60 million in Gonzalez. We've hardly seen anything from Kuzanov or Vitor Hayes. You've obviously got Jeremy Doku, who was about 60 mil, and I don't rate him at all. I think he's very much in the similar mould of a Adama Traore, who's very, very much flat as to deceive. And there must be others that I've just let go that the chat will probably let me know about as well. So I do think Manchester City, just because of how good they are, anything they do bad just goes up and brushed under the carpet. But they've made some bad signings, haven't they? They really have.
They get away with it, as you said. Moxie says all these teams strengthening now are definitely chasing Liverpool, unfortunately. They have been phenomenal so far in the transfer market. Credit where credit is due. Correct there. Brendan says, any chance of a 12-man trip to Ireland for a show? You'll have to bring Dan United, though. This poor guy's phone, I keep hammering him saying, am I coming back on Race for Europe yet? But with the signings we've made, I think that might be years, not months, before I'm back on there. Andy says, just talking about the top few teams is depressing for us United fans. Honestly, I couldn't.
We were there once, though, man. We were there not long ago. I was sitting in 8th thinking, oh, God, I wish I was Man United in 2nd. So, it can change very quickly, trust me.
Question here from Jamie. Do you think you'll pay 80 or 90 million for Rodrigo?
Only if we don't go in for Madueke and Eze together with Rodrigo. I just don't see us getting all three of them. I think that a lot of Arsenal fans are getting excited because they think we will, and we're just going to go all out because we know that they were this close. For me, I'd keep Ethan on the right as backup for Saka, and I'd go for Eze on Rodrigo. That would be it for me after that. I'm quite happy with Mosquera coming in backup centre-back. Norgard, Zubimendi and Kepa. Let's go. I think we're ready with them.
With the Madueke one, I think people are saying about him overrated. But do you look at him as someone, as you said, that comes in and is just that squad player and makes you? I mean, look at last season when you were under the cosh, it was Sterling coming in. I think Madueke is such an upgrade to bring in. Young, still has time to develop as well. It's just the money, I think, isn't it, with him?
Yeah, look, last year it was Sterling, season before it was Nelson. I think Madueke's better than both of those, so he's obviously an upgrade on those two. But I genuinely do believe Ethan Nwaneri is better than him. And I know people might laugh at that because obviously he's in the England side and he's only in the under-21s. But I think when you look at what appearances Ethan had last season, he scored more goals than Madueke. He was a shining light in the majority of them. And I do believe that you should look after your youth more than you should go and get one of another Chelsea reject. Let's be real. So I've got to be honest. I don't feel like there's any understanding of what we're trying to do with this Madueke deal. If he does come in, he's going to be back up. And do you know what, Dan? If he comes in alongside Rodrigo and Eze, I'm not too fussed. If he comes
No
in
problem.
instead of, we got problems, mate.
No problem with that. I tell you what, if this happened, Steve Peach, I'm telling you now, I'd take up cricket. I'd stop football straight away. Absolutely ridiculous. A couple more questions then, guys, because we will need to be wrapping up soon. What else have we got here? Would you sell Odegaard yet, says Lucas? Looks like he's regressing to me, and if he can get as much profit as possible and replace with Eze, surely that is a possible.
Look, I wouldn't sell him now. I wouldn't sell him this season, but he's got one more year for me because I'm done defending him. It's just embarrassing watching him play at times last season. I know he's got talent and technically gifted. There's rumours that he's going to have an operation and it might keep him out for a couple of weeks for the start of the season because he's clearly not fit. And that ankle injury he got for Norway, he never come back the same, if I'm honest. I mean, he looked like he worked hard. His work rate was there, but his technical ability on the ball and the fact that he was invisible in games. I know some people are questioning him. I don't think he is the player. I think he's the guy before the guy, Dan, if I'm honest. I think Odegaard's the guy before the guy. And I'm not saying he's not good enough because he's 25, 26. He should be brilliant now. I think he might be the Bernardo, not the KDB. And I think people want him to be the KDB, but he's not going to be. That's what I would say.
It's bonkers, mate. It's bonkers. I remember what this guy was like a couple of seasons ago. Anything he did was turned to. And actually, do you know what? It kind of goes to a question that United fans have been asked a lot. And at the time, I said no, but I wonder now if we're living to rue this. Was should we have sold Bruno when that money was offered, the 100 million? I mean, 100 million would have solved a lot of problems.
You should have, mate. You should have. Let's be real. You should have.
It's hard. It's hard because he's been so much to United, but you sell him and you get in an Ederson, you get in a Richard Rios, straight away. You're getting a Douglas Luiz. It kind of changes the dynamics. Looking at it with Bruno this season, we know that he is not going to be playing in his favoured number 10. So does that change the player completely with him dropping to do the double pivot? It's a question that a lot of people have asked, isn't it? And I think it's a tough one with me because the love for him and what he's done as a player is fantastic. But we've seen this before with Manchester United where you see players that look decent and then we just get rid of them and we come good because we build from that. We build a squad from that. But it can also go the other way. I remember when Bale was sold from Spurs and they went out and signed Pavlyuchenko and people like that, and it went horrifically wrong. So it's a tough one. Chappie, by the way, big up. I haven't seen you in here tonight. We hope you're well. It's just a tough one. Martinelli, says Darren Grace, is it time to sell and Trossard too? Now, I know you're a fan of Martinelli, aren't you?
One of them's going to go, Dan. Martinelli will go if Saudi bid. I don't think that's going to happen. Romano said that's gone quiet now. Nobody in Europe is bidding for Martinelli. Let's be real. Trossard is an interesting one because Saudi and Fenerbahce are both genuinely interested. Now, apparently Andrea Berta has said that we should be thinking about letting him go if he's not going to sign a new contract. He's happy at Arsenal, but he doesn't want to sign a new deal from what we understand. And he's only got 1 year left. So if we sell him, it has to be this summer. Otherwise, he goes for a free. Now, some people are saying just keep him. He's a good squad player. Let him go on a free because he'll be 32, whatever he'll be. That's fine. I really don't care if we do. But if one has to go, I'd rather it be Trossard that goes. Just get your 20, 30 million, whatever you're going to get, and go from there. You're not going to get 70 million for Martinelli. You're not. Bayern Munich are going to probably offer 40 if they're struggling. It sounds like they're going to go for Luis Diaz now. Now, the other thing is with that is Saudi were interested in Luis Diaz. If he's going to go to Bayern Munich, then potentially Martinelli could go to Saudi. And that has to be a big offer. If we can get 70 million from Martinelli, you're going to say yes, aren't you? Right? Cool. And then you then put that towards Rodrigo. So one of them's got to go. I like Martinelli. I know a lot of people don't. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans have doubts. I don't think he's developed into the player I thought he would. At 17, he looked unstoppable. He looked like he was going to be the next best thing. I don't think the coaching has helped. And I don't think the style of play has helped. When we were an attacking side, he got 15 goals. Since we haven't been an attacking side and it's been more set pieces and more compact football, he's struggled and he's got about 8 goals, which isn't bad, but it's nowhere near the level that he should be getting. So if we go attacking style, that's why I'd keep him 1 more year. I think you might see the Martinelli of old. If you don't, I think you then got to sell him with his 2 years left.
Kudos, people are saying. Lucas has been trying to offload this guy for the last 4 weeks, bless him. And I think he's absolutely gutted. He's going
Tottenham, isn't it? Tottenham again for him.
I can't believe that. That's just come out of nowhere, that signing, man. Okay, well, I want to finish on them, Pots. So the Premier League season starts tomorrow. We'll give you Gyökeres. We'll take Brian because we're sort of there or thereabouts. With just those signings, where do you think Arsenal finish? And then where do you think United finish?
So I think Arsenal, with the signing of Gyökeres, will finish second because that's our favourite position. I don't think that's enough to win us the league. I do think that it gives us a great chance, but I don't think we've got enough strength in depth still with just Gyökeres yet. Manchester United, I don't think you're finishing bloody 15th or whatever it is. I'm going to give you 9th because I still think there's a lot to do. I don't think you jump from 15th to 6th with what you've done so far. I do like the signings of Cunha and Mbeumo, and I do actually think they'll score goals for you. I think Bruno dropping deep might be a bit of an issue, but he always seems to save the day for United. So I do think that you'll probably be in a position of 9th. And the reason I put that is because I genuinely do think that there'll be teams ahead of you that I don't think you'll be able to catch up. I mean, I don't think you're going to finish ahead of Liverpool, City or Arsenal. I don't think you're finishing ahead of Chelsea or Newcastle. That's 5 already. Yeah. I don't think you're finishing above Villa. That's 6. And I think there's going to be teams like Brighton, maybe Forest again. You might even see Spurs under Frank getting towards that as well. And then we're getting towards 10th. We've got Palace in there as well. So I think people that go 9th, really? Oh, Man United should be 6th. I don't see the 5 teams that are finishing above you. I think there's more than 5 that are. So I'll say 9th and I'll say Arsenal at the moment 2nd, but that's only because of Gyökeres and Zubimendi. Without Gyökeres and Zubimendi, I had us 3rd.
I think so. I actually agree with Arsenal 2nd. I think if you stick where you are now, I still think you need those couple more signings to shore you up. With United, I've just said the entire way through, Potts, I don't care if it's 9th, 8th or 7th, as long as we get Europe. That has to be United's biggest achievement. We have to win back-to-back games that we were laughed at for not doing last season. And more importantly, we have to have the consistency to finish in Europe. Now, you said about it, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, yourselves, Newcastle, you could say Villa. I mean, Villa haven't done anything yet, so I'm a bit worried for Villa, I must say. But those 5 teams straight away, we are nowhere near challenging them. We are in our own mini table now from sort of 6th to 12th, I think, that we have to finish top of. But it's interesting you say that because I'm not far off you with that. And I was given a bit of stick on TikTok when I said I don't see us finishing 6th, 7th. I don't see us doing that unless we bring more players in. And the way it's looking at the moment, we can't rely on what we've got. Now, Brendan, I thought you were talking about me with this, and then I forgot that Potts' name's Dan as well. He says, Dan, how much do you hate United? I've heard you on your stream saying they ruined your childhood, and you love a wee dig too when we've been awful for the last few years.
I respect them, as I do. I'm sure Man United respect Arsenal, but I don't like you because you ruined my childhood. School was brilliant for me in high school, but as I was getting towards the primary school to higher secondary school, there was a lot of times that you ruined my childhood in the 90s. And in the early 2000s, we had an unbelievable battle when we started to get the better of you. And then in the late 2000s, it all went wrong and you ruined my time again. If I'm honest with you, it wasn't really Manchester United. It was Sir Alex Ferguson, if I'm brutally honest. He was the reason that you were winning so much. So I, of course, hate Manchester United and what you've done. I just look at the teams you had. I used to love the Arsenal and Man United. They're crap now. If I'm honest, if I'm brutally honest, they're crap now. Keenan Vieira days, Fergie and Wenger days. You know, we had like Ashley Cole and Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, we had Lauren and Giggs and, you know, Tony Adams and Sol Campbell coming up. You know, Keown and Van Nistelrooy, Eric Cantona from old, you know, York and Cole, Keenan Scholes and Vieira and Petit. You don't get that now, you know. It's if we play each other now, it's like Saliba's coming up against Hoyland. You know, I mean, what is going on here? It's embarrassing, really, isn't it? And they're never good games either. They're just boring 1-0s or 1-1s at the moment, it seems. So, you know, like, can you imagine if, like, I would have said to you, look, we're going to have games. We are going to beat you at the Emirates. You're going to draw at Old Trafford. You're going to knock us out with 10 men at the Emirates. You'd be like, wow, that must be unbelievable to watch. And it was dross. The whole lot, all 3 of them were dross. So unfortunately, that's just the way it's gone for both our clubs at the moment. They're both unrecognisable, Dan, if I'm honest, from when I was growing up. But we're just in a better position at the moment, man. So
it was all out war back then. Now it's just. I mean, as Keno says, it's just players hugging each other and off they go. United have got to win 5 in a row next season for that poor bloke. He's not cut his hair.
No, I'm
convinced it's a wig. I'm convinced. I mean, that hair was grown so quick. That hair from like I watched. Do you know? I went on TikTok and I thought, what's he putting in his hair? Jesus Christ! Yeah. But I tell you what, mate.
I feel for him because he's gonna be like it's gonna be like Rapunzel by the time you get 5, isn't it? In a row.
Honestly, this goes back to it though. This is how bad United are. In what world are we sat here going? no chance United are going to win 5 in a row for the next, foreseeable future. Honestly, if I was him, I'd be including pre-season friendlies as well in that. But Potts, look, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it, mate. It's been great to have you on the channel. Where can we find you, and what have you got coming up?
Yeah, big up, man. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, people. Let's get that up to 1,000 subscribers as best as we can. Look, our 12th man, football's 12th man, come see me. I dropped a show earlier with Lee Judges and Jordan talking all things Arsenal and where we believe we're going to be going with this transfer market. And I'm just going to be dropping a clip of that tomorrow as well, which was quite a heated debate about who we should sell out of Martinelli and Trossard. Yeah, there'll be shows tomorrow evening. I've got the Arsenal roundabout on, so come follow me for that one.
Lovely, lovely. Thanks very much for coming on, Potsy. Guys, you're getting a lot of love on the way out as well, Potsy. They're very happy to see you coming in. They really will. Guys, I'm going to put this to you, right? Tomorrow, day 474 of us waiting for Here We Go from Brian. Will it happen? Will it not? One thing I know, Dan United, Brian Brigade. Ooh!